digital, which meant that the actors were only going to perform in front of a camera. They wouldn't get to see the audience. And as theater actors, they are extremely vulnerable because in a digital medium, because they have been trained to perform in front of a live audience and watch their reactions, and also respond to audience reactions while performing. And so it's also a give and take of energy that takes place on stage. The audience participates by applauding, by laughing, or just by sheer silence, and the actors get inspired from these moments. But here we are in the digital medium where they wouldn't get to see the audience, and they are performing to a black hole, which is this little camera that's capturing their performance. So it was really tough for them, and I had to sort of work with them and train them to sort of consider the performance for the camera in a new way. And when I say a new way, is because the moment the camera comes in, the grammar of the film comes in as well, right? So everything that, and all these actors, Atul, Ashwat, Pallav, everybody actually has worked for film as well. So they've worked for the camera. But I didn't want them to do that either. I didn't want them to act like as if they were acting in a film. So I kept telling them that what we're doing is a new language called internet theater, which is somewhere between a film and a physical theater. And we need to discover our own rules, because we have not been trained for it, and we are, in a sense, the pioneers. We are facing all the difficult questions. Nobody knows how to do this right. So we will have to discover this as we go on. So the entire rehearsal process was actually trying to discover what kind of body, what kind of imagination, what kind of distance from the camera, what kind of voice, and what kind of stage business works for an internet theater piece. So I think every actor found their own style, found their own approach to work. So Pallav, for example, Pallav's pieces have a lot of mobility. He gets up, he goes around, has a lot of movement. He uses the wall behind, whereas Ashwat's pieces are far more settled. He's always sitting in a chair. Atul's pieces have a lot of depth. He goes back, you can see the pull of his body, then he comes forward. He uses a lot of stuff on his face. Both Deepti and Shri, the female actors, they use their face as the canvas to transform from being an old woman to a very young woman, to a girl, to a daughter, to a professional working woman. And so we had to really work. We had to sort of understand what this sort of rectangle of a screen is, and how does the performativity of theater translate into this screen, so that when audiences watch this, they are neither reminded of theater nor they're reminded of film. That this performance has its own identity. And so I think I don't know if you remember these scenes, but these scenes kind of, I kept them hanging, suspended between a kind of theatricality and psychological realism. So, which is what film is. Psychological realism is what film is, where the camera goes really up close and captures even the slightest of eye movements of the actor. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have theatricality, where the whole of the actor's body is visible on stage, and they're using the entire body to perform. So this was kind of some kind of a place in the middle where actors had to find, and I had to help them find this new vocabulary to perform. They were also handling a lot of technology as well. So all the polls that were being run, each actor was running their own poll, and that was on a separate laptop. And because all these actors were performing from their homes, and they are spread all across the country, how do you open a show together and close the show together, right? So we had to rehearse that as well. So everybody has a timer, and it has to go on, has to go off at the same time. And how does one close a show? You know, so all these were very new questions, very new questions for us. Of course, in the beginning, when I told them that, look, the audience might leave your room at any point, the actors got extremely upset, because they want to perform the entire scene for the audience, and they don't want audience to leave midway. And I told them that, look, to keep the audience, to keep your audience, you have to perform in a way in which they don't leave the room. So this is the kind of tension that I have with them, which is that it's a nice tension. It's a very productive tension, that they are performing to keep you in the room, and I am sending you options to leave the room. And so you have to keep choosing between, should you leave this room and go somewhere else, or should you keep watching them because what you're watching is really interesting. So I mean, there are several layers. There are several layers of how I started to weave this entire play together. Of course, once we did the shows and the actors also, saw what digital theater could do, they were very excited by it. And we got a lot of great press, and a lot of people texted me and texted like the entire team that they loved the show, and they didn't know, they couldn't have imagined that digital theater could be so powerful, or and also so imaginative, that so I was really happy. I was really happy to see that all these things that we were trying while in the making of the show finally reached everyone, and it was successful. So we are hoping with these shows now to reach a much wider audience. The last December shows were exclusively for the theatrical and the sort of the art community. But with these shows, I think what we're trying to do is to reach a wider public and see what the response is going to be.